Welcome to Real Estate Real World, where we talk to the movers, shakers, and leaders that are getting it done right now in the real estate industry and beyond. Your host, Marguerite Crespillo, started this podcast simply dedicated to call people about what's really happening in this crazy roller coaster ride of real estate. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and stay up to date on the newest stuff by adding yourself to the list at www.realestaterealworld.com. Now your host, Marguerite Crespillo.
Hello, everybody. It's Marguerite Crespillo with Real Estate Real World, and welcome back to another fabulous episode. Today, we're very excited to have my good friend and business partner, Nicole Elizabeth, she goes by. She's been 4 years in real estate, single mom of two, Mia 15 and Adam 11. And she's built a business solely through social media and sphere of influence to over $10 million per year. She's been a two-time icon agent with EXP and co-founder of Modern Agent Blueprint with almost 3,000 members at this point, a turnkey solution to real estate and marketing. So we're excited today to have you here. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
How are you? You look fabulous, of course.
Thank you, as do you.
Thank you. So I'm really excited to talk to you because I've wanted to have this conversation with you for a bit. And I've just been so dang proud of you and how hard you've worked and what you've done. So you're quite an inspiration to many. So you've been now how long in real estate? 4 years, right?
This is my 4th year. Yep. I got my license right at the end of 2018.
Oh, wow. And what made you decide to get into real estate?
Oh, good question. So I had been searching for a really long time for something. I was a dental assistant for 15 years. I had been in the field for a really long time. I was super burnt out. I didn't know what to do. There's no place to move up in the dental field. You have to go back to school. You have to do something. You have to take on more debt. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to find something. And I searched for a long time about what I wanted to do. One of my good friends, Kelly, was getting her real estate license again. And she had me, we worked together at the dentist office, and I've known her for 10 years. And she was so pumped up. She had heard about EXP Realty. She was so pumped up about it that she got me all pumped up about it. And I was like, you know what? I could do this. I think I could do this really well. And I literally met with a couple people that day, a couple days later, I should say, and went out and got my license that day.
Wow. No looking back. Huh?
Nope. I didn't look at any other brokerages. I didn't look at anything. I was like, this is the one. I'm going here.
You know, what's interesting is that I'm always amazed because over 65% of the real estate industry are women, right? And I would venture to say that a good number of those are moms and single moms, the majority of them, right? And having raised my own kids, not as a single mom, I have my wonderful husband, Joe, but as a mom, I can't imagine anything else that I could have done where I could have the opportunity to make as much money as I was able to make and flexibility of schedule and working with people, right?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, I worked 2.5 years in real estate doing both jobs. So full-time dental assistant, I called it full-time real estate because it's hard to do part-time real estate. I mean, you're working all hours of the day, all hours of the night. So 2 full-time jobs, 2 kids. At that time, I think my daughter was 10 and my son was maybe 6 or 7. They were young. So balancing their schedules, their school, both jobs, it was a lot. But I used to have people all the time who would say, I don't know, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I just get it done. You don't have a choice. I'm out here. I got to put food on the table for my kids. Right. So it worked out really well. And I felt very lucky that during the pandemic, I was able to be home with the kids. And I felt very lucky to be able to be with them and not have to figure out care and all that. So I was sold for sure on full-time real estate at that point because I knew this was it.
It's funny because I remember years ago, I sold a house to this young guy, 25 years old. And I remember talking to him, and he was at that time trying to build his business. He had a different kind of business. And I said, "Well, what's your like backup plan?" He goes, "I don't have a backup plan." And he says, "When you have a fallback plan, you'll fall back."
That's a
And
good
I
point.
loved that quote because I think that when you go all in like you have, like burn the boats, as they say, right? Like you don't have any other option. You have to figure it out. And I love that. I loved it to kind of hear that moxie. And I remember when you first started, that first year probably wasn't the easiest, was it?
No, the market was very similar to this. I mean, it was tough. It took me 6 months to sell my first house. It was a lot of learning. It was a lot of just will, just knowing like I'm going to do this. It's going to work out. I just have to get to that point. And I never gave up. I never even considered stopping. I just knew it would work out, and it has. So I'm very grateful and thankful for that.
So, what has been your biggest challenge in real estate, and what has been your favorite success aspects of it?
Oof, the biggest challenge is the work life balance for me. I find that I struggle with saying no. I like to do all of the things and I like to do them myself, which is part of my issues I'm working on. I got a VA finally, so I can delegate some of that stuff, which has been helpful. But that work life balance is really tough for me. I want to make sure that I have time for myself on top of my kids and my clients. So that's been the hardest part, I think, is finding that balance. And I'm still working on that. The best part, honestly, something I've always wanted, like, I've seen like my ex-husband had a great job and he was constantly like being promoted. And I was like, man, I wish I had that. And instead of being somebody's employee, I have been able to accelerate my own business by myself. So being able to say, this is my business. I've grown it to where it is. That's my favorite part of this whole thing, is being able to feel good about what I'm doing and helping people along.
I love that too, because I think that real estate is one of the few areas for us women that has no glass ceiling. We can be
Mhm.
as successful as we want to be. Nothing to hold us back or nothing to keep us from hitting and accomplishing those goals. I know for myself, I go to college. I don't have any degree. And frankly, I think that I probably make more money than most college educated people, and at least have the opportunity to, as does anybody who gets into real estate. You can make dramatically more money than many people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I went to college and in that time period when I was trying to figure out what was next, what could I do? I went back to school for a little bit. I thought, with being 15 years in the dental field, before that, I worked in hospitals. I was like, I should go back to be a nurse. And I did a couple semesters and I was like, this is not for me. And
Right.
I have so much respect for nurses because it's a hard job. It's not for me. So when I found this, it's perfect for me. I like to do my own thing. I like to run things my own way. And this is fantastic that I can do all of those things by myself.
What I love, I'd like to segue a little bit, because what I love is that your business has really been focused on education and educating people
Mhm.
via social media. And I know that last year, I think, or maybe it was a little longer, you created Modern Agent Blueprint, a
Mhm.
mastermind on Facebook. And that thing has blown up. I can't believe you guys have almost 3,000 people that are a part of that. Tell us a little bit about what was your thought process and idea behind that, and how has that worked out for you?
So it's a funny story. So a lot of us realtors are in those real estate mastermind groups or those referral groups, and people ask a question. And then if you read the comments, they're terrible. Like, people are just tearing these agents down. They're
Brutal.
talking me. It's just, they're bullying basically. And I just kind of got tired of it. And I got out of all of those groups and I was like, I'm going to create my own thing. I want a place where people can go, they can collaborate, they can feel safe asking a question, because people are not going to berate them and beat them up over a simple question. And agents need that. And there's a lot of brokerages and there's a lot of agents who just aren't getting the hands-on experience or the hands-on training that they need. So we started Modern Agent Blueprint with this whole idea of just doing masterminds. And it quickly turned into inviting quality guests or product or something that we thought would be incredibly helpful or valuable to the real estate agent. So we've had some amazing guests on there. We've had Chelsea Pites, we've had Glenda Baker on there, we've had Mark Choi from High Note, we've had Isaiah Colton, we've had Katie Colwell from Hustle Humbly podcast. I mean, we've had some really amazing guests on there. And I know I'm forgetting a whole lot, but there's a lot of really good people. And we don't just keep it to these famous people. We do the trainings a lot. I just did one yesterday on pop buys and different ways to kind of love on your clients to help get those referrals from them. The last one we did before that was branding. We're going to be doing a branding boot camp. There's a lot of good stuff in the works, and we just really wanted to provide that value. So I think that's why the group has grown so much, because they see that value there. We're not charging for everything. These masterminds are free. It's a great place to go for free and valuable education.
And it's also brand neutral, right? It's not anything, it's not all about EXP or Keller Williams or Cole Banker. It's not about any of those. It's brand neutral. So anybody with any company can join in and participate.
Yep. And I mean, like, we truly believe in collaboration over competition. There is no reason why me here in Ann Arbor, Michigan can't share what's working for me with you in California. If you can take that and you can take whatever I'm doing and implement into your business, or vice versa, that's what we want. If there's somebody who's with a different brokerage doing something amazing in Texas, I want to know about it, because if I can implement that into my systems, that's something that's going to be valuable to me. So absolutely, any brokerage, anybody can join, doesn't matter.
Well, and truth be told, if you build your business right, you don't have competition, right? So even if somebody's in your own backyard, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. At least that's what I've discovered in my career, because I've trained thousands of people on things. And number one, very few use it. Number two, the ones who do, we're going to have different clients. The people that know you, like you, and trust you are not going to work with me, and vice versa. So it doesn't really matter a whole lot. I think when people get really caught up in that competitive side in that way, they don't do well. It's, at least that's what I've seen in my experience.
It's the scarcity mindset. Once you have that scarcity mindset, trust me, there are enough houses and enough people selling houses for all of us. And it's not like I could do all of Ann Arbor or all of Michigan, but there's plenty of room for everybody. And that's where I think like our group, and just in general, my philosophy is just, I'll tell you what you need to know. I have no problem with sharing what works, because like you said, not everybody's going to implement it, and chances are they're going to implement it in their own way when they do it. So it's going to be different.
So what are you seeing with the market out there in your area? I know that here the market has obviously shifted, but I loved what you said early on, how it's no different than when you started. We're back somewhat to a relatively normal market, right?
Yeah. So it's a weird market though. I mean, we have houses that are selling really quickly with multiple offers still. And then we have houses that are sitting for a couple weeks. It's a funky market, and it's hard to gauge where your listing is going to stack up. It's great for buyers because you have less competition right now. A lot of buyers have backed out of the market because of the interest rates. However, I mean, this isn't a terrible interest rate. It's just worse than it was a year ago. So it's just part of the process. And I think there's always going to be people who need to move. I do see houses sitting for a little bit longer, but it's crazy. I mean, I'm still seeing houses that are going up for sale with multiple offers within the first day. I just showed one yesterday. They had 5 offers on day 1. So it's a very interesting market. I'll say that.
So what is your thoughts and plans for 2023? Like, have you worked on your goals, or like, what is your process each year? Do you do vision boards? Do you do goals? Do you wing it? Like, what do you do?
A lot of winging it.
Don't we all, right? No
Right.
judgment there. We all do.
A lot of winging it. I do have goals. I mean, this year I did not hit the goal that I wanted. I had a goal of selling 50 houses. And because of this shift in the market, things definitely slowed down. I was on a pretty good track there. I think I'm at 36 houses right now. So I've sold quite a bit. However, it slowed down quite a bit here towards the end of the year. So I think my dollar amount where I'm at right now, I'm very happy with. So looking forward to next year, I think I want to be every year I want to do a little bit better, a little bit more, something else. I like where I'm at now. I think next year, and it's hard because the markets are so different. If I say I did 10 million here, that's 36 houses. I think I'm at 10.8 million and that's 36 houses. Whereas 10.8 million in your area might be 4 houses.
Well, no, hold on. Where I live in Northern California, our prices are pretty similar.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we do have some agents who focus on the high-end luxury homes, which EXP now has an entire new luxury division, which is pretty cool. But I don't live in Southern California. I don't live in Malibu, where the average sales
Yeah.
price is 4 or 5 million.
Right. That's
Or
2 houses.
actually, Sylvia, who's one of our newer agents in the San Francisco area, I think her average sales price is like $2.5 or $3 million. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have to sell as many houses. But let me just say though, 36 homes is extraordinary. You understand that the average agent across the country sells 3 homes a year.
Yeah, that's
In
insane.
your 4th year in business, you're selling 10 times the average.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
That
dang
makes me
impressive.
feel good. I'll just pat myself on the back.
I'll pat you on the back. There you go.
Well, and I just got Icon for the second time, which makes me super excited because that was my goal from the beginning. I was like, I want to hit Icon. And I hit it last year and I just hit it again just in the nick of time. So I am extremely excited to have a new trophy on the shelf.
That's very exciting. Yeah, I've made it 4 times. Sadly, today is the last day of my calendar year. I'm not going to make it this year, but my goal this year was actually to focus my energies in a little different direction. So it's my own fault. So there you go.
Well, so for part of the other stuff for this year, we're doing another Level Up event. So you were our MC at the last Level Up event. We're doing another one. We're working on plans with that. So this is a all women in real estate event. So last year it was more like women entrepreneurs, where this year we're gonna gear it a little bit more towards real estate. So I'm super excited about that. We're still working out the details on, but that we had a 250. Actually, I think last year we had 265 people there, which is an amazing turnout.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was an extraordinary event.
Yeah, it was amazing. The whole vibe and energy there was just unreal. So we're doing it again. Hopefully, we're going to have the same amount of vibe and turnout and energy. I'm really excited about that. So we have that. We have some great stuff coming along with Modern Agent Blueprint, and Lee Moratis and I are launching Town Sites, which is coming out soon, which is going to be an amazing thing for agents to have. It's going to be a total turnkey solution for real estate marketing, to be your community, like the mayor of your town, basically, to have all of your community page and everything focused there on all of your local community. So all the different businesses, people in the community can join it. It's going to be a really amazing thing. And they're doing so much on the back end that it's going to take so much stress off the agent. So once you sign up, they're going to get you all set up. And then from there, they're going to be posting for you. They're going to be doing all the stuff. And that was like the biggest stressor when I've tried doing these community pages before, is like, where do I find the info? Where do I find the topics? It's all going to be done for you. So it's pretty amazing. I'm excited for that to launch.
Have you guys set a date yet for the Level Up event or no?
No, we're still working on that. It's going to be probably in February. So we're working on the date for that right now. We're still getting a hold of vendors is incredibly difficult. So especially with Thanksgiving that we just had. So working on getting that Level Up date scheduled here very soon.
Well, I'm hoping I can make it. I have a grandbaby due in the beginning of April, which I know is a little bit quite a difference in date, but I hope I can at least come out and participate this year.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear more about it.
Yes,
And you
absolutely.
said you're going to focus more on agents. So when you say that, do you mean on how to help them build and grow their businesses, how to maintain, how to maybe create some work-life balance?
Yeah, so we're still working on the whole layout of the event. It's definitely going to be, we really want to have Julia Brenner back again talking about manifestation, because I am massively into mindset and manifestation. So having her back again is going to be amazing. We are going to be talking, I think, with somebody. We're going to have a lady there who's going to be talking about mindset and her business that she does, and she does a lot of investment properties. So just we've been to a lot of different events where it's like you get a little bit of info sprinkled on you. And we want to have tangible things that you can take away and implement into your business. It's the same idea with Modern Agent Blueprint. We don't want to just sprinkle ideas on you and then or bombard you with 10,000 things that you need to do. And you're going to have pages and notes, and then you're never going to do anything with it. So we want to have this be tangible things you can take away. And again, like one of those events where you're just going to walk away like, holy crap, when are they doing another one of those? So we're super excited. We're still working on the lineup of what we're going to have and how we want it to flow. But I am very excited for what's coming.
That's going to be amazing. I know last year we did our third Top Women in Real Estate event. And I mean, people have already been asking, when's the next one? When's the next one? I think, like I said, women just soak this up, and not to discredit you guys out there. And there were even a few guys that showed up to the events. But I just feel like we, as kind of women entrepreneurs and real estate agents and business agents, we need a little bit more support maybe than guys do, or we need a little more encouragement. We're trying to balance everything. And so it's my favorite event. It's really the only big event that I've been doing, and I love it. And I'm working on some pretty cool keynote speakers and things like that. But I love what you guys are doing, and I'm so inspired by proud by what you guys have done. And I can't wait to see what you're doing next.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So what other exciting things do you have that you're planning on doing in 2023? Anything? You talked about your town sites, your level up event.
Yeah. So as of right now, those are the biggest events. I mean, we will likely be doing more Modern Agent Blueprint events, potentially traveling and doing some other ones. We are considering or planning out, I guess, one in Toledo, Ohio, because we do have an amazing agent in Toledo who's joining us, and she's partnering with me at EXP, and I'm super excited. So we want to really branch out into that area. And then potentially doing some trainings. And I would be partnering up with Isaiah Colton, who's a national real estate coach, and potentially going to different areas across the country, doing more speaking events. So also full of education and value, same principle, where we're going to give you things that you can actually take away with you and implement into your business, not just like the fluff. So we're excited about that too. We're taking the kids to Italy for spring break. So
oh my goodness, that's my favorite place in the world. I've been there twice. I'm half Italian, so there you go.
Well, we're taking the kids to Rome. So they are incredibly excited about that. I really hope I'm going to be definitely going to EXP Con, and I'm sure there's a million different events. So I'm sure going to be going to some of those. But at this point, those are the big things that are going on. So I'm sure more will come. I just have to roll with the punches.
So that takes me to my next big question. Is it, what would you tell your younger you, meaning what would you tell yourself as a brand new agent, different than maybe what you knew or heard or learned when you started? Like, what advice would you give to you starting again?
Don't spend all your money on dumb stuff. Don't run out and buy 6 signs because it makes logistical sense with the shipping costs, because you're going to change your logo in 6 months. So I do a lot of mentoring, and I have a brand new mentee who just started the other day. And that was the first thing I said. I'm like, listen, just because you're starting doesn't mean you need to run out and buy a bunch of stuff. That was the biggest mistake I made. I came up with a logo. I was so excited about it. I printed it on everything. I bought all these signs. I bought all these things. And then 6 months later, I was like, I hate this logo and it's got to go. So the signs are all sitting in my basement right now. I have relics sitting around of all the other stuff. And I think there's so much that we are marketed to. I mean, how many emails do you get a day of people wanting to sell you leads, people wanting to have you buy this program and that program? Really spend your money wisely. You don't know when your first sale is going to be. You don't know when the next sale is going to be. So instead of throwing all your money at everything, really pay attention to what your money is going to, what is that return, and don't just, throw the money at anything, because it's not all going to pan out in the end. Let's just say that. So that would be my biggest advice.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because to me, the most valuable lessons you can learn are knowing your numbers and knowing what those numbers will look like what your production level is, what you're spending. Because, it's funny, the average agent out there owes a ton of money to IRS. They don't pay their taxes. They have no idea what their production is, what their average sales price, average commissions, average everything. And the best lessons I ever learned were me learning and understanding and knowing my numbers. Because numbers don't lie to you. They tell you where to go. They tell you
Right.
what direction to go to and how to get there. So it's easy to spend, we're like squirrels, right? Like it's like, oh, every shiny new object out there, we think that's going to be the answer. And ultimately it's not.
It's not. No, and you spend a lot of money to figure that out, right? So why not? One thing I tell people all the time, I have people come to me all the time asking me, "Hey, have you ever done this? Have you ever tried that?" And I'm like, "No, yes, and that was terrible. I will never do that again." So things that I don't do Zillow leads. I tried Zillow leads in my area. The people who are getting those good leads are paying like 20 grand a month or something
Isn't
insane.
that
I'm
insane? Yeah.
not going to pay that. There's no way. I would rather focus my attention to social media and to my sphere and to my friends, to my group, my people who already know, like, and trust me, and spend my money that way than getting the random people who don't show up to the showings or aren't pre-approved or aren't whatever. I would just rather spend my money otherwise in other places.
So let me ask you about social media because you're extraordinary at it and I'm not so much. I feel like lucky every day I post something. I'm like, oh my goodness, I actually posted something. What tips have worked the best for you with social media? Like, where do you focus most of your time and energy? And how do you, I mean, talk about balance. How do you get all that done?
Well, I have figured out that there are some days that I am way more creative than others. I think women might be, I've heard that this is a thing with women, that we have certain days in the month where we are way more creative. We have more creative energy. We have more flow. We're just like more excited about things. On those days, I do a lot more batching of reels. Sadly, I on on Halloween this last year, or like a couple months ago, Instagram freaked out and it deleted my Modern Agent Blueprint page. It locked me out of my account. And when it locked me out of my account, I lost all of my saved drafts. And I had so many saved drafts of reels. So I had to go back and
Oh,
recreate. I haven't had the energy or the time to do it. So I haven't done a reel in a while. I was actually really good. I was doing a reel a day for a while there, and I was getting a lot more followers, a lot more engagement. It was going really well. And then I slacked off. Then I lost all my stuff. So I haven't had the energy to do it again. But what I try to do is stay in my stories. So I'm really good about posting stories throughout the day. If I don't feel like talking or I feel like I don't really have anything to say, I'll post a quote or something funny or something that I've seen that will resonate either with me or with my followers in some way. I'm really trying to my goal has been to do more educational videos where I'm actually talking to the camera instead of doing like voiceover reels that are just for entertainment. Those entertainment ones I think are great to mix in, but I really want to be known as the agent who is very knowledgeable. And the way to do that is by doing those videos and doing reels and doing short form videos to get people's engagement and to get people interested in what I'm saying. So it's hard to find the time, but I feel like if you just get that creative bug and just rock out a couple, you have them kind of put in your little bank there and you can go back and post them as needed. I think it's great to also, if you have time, to schedule out a day where you just schedule out like 2 hours to batch a whole bunch of reels. And once you get good at it, it doesn't take that long to do some.
so let me ask you this. Uh, what platform do you think is the most effective right now? Because where I get overwhelmed is I feel like I got to post on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and now YouTube Shorts. And now, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so overwhelmed by it.
So I haven't really done a whole lot with YouTube Shorts, although my son, who's 11, is constantly watching YouTube Shorts. So, and it's the same idea as TikTok. It's the same idea as Reels, and Facebook has Reels now. So it's the same thing. My thought is whatever you can cross post. So if you can post something on Instagram and it will share to Facebook, do that. If you can share to any of the other, like if you have to download the video and then share it on TikTok or YouTube Reel or YouTube Shorts, do it. Make one video and post it across all of them. It might be repetitive for some people, but you're going to have different audiences on every different platform. I personally like Instagram the best. I like Instagram the best because there's not a lot of opinions on Instagram. Facebook
Yeah,
tends to be very opinionated,
so
and
true.
it gets to be sometimes too much. So I try to remember Facebook. I check it all the time, but I'm just not great about posting all the time on there because Instagram is my place. That's my home. That's where I feel comfortable. I like it the most. But I will say, when I post a story on Facebook, I get way more views than I do on Instagram, which I find really interesting.
Mm.
People who you don't even remember you're friends with are watching your stories. And just because somebody's not liking it doesn't mean that they're not seeing it. So I think the social proof is when you're out and you run into somebody you haven't seen in several years at the coffee shop and they're like, "Oh, you're doing real estate. You're doing a really good job." And you're like, "Oh, I didn't even know you saw my stuff." So that's that social proof where you're like, "Okay, it's working. These people know." That's what makes it good for me to know that people are actually seeing this stuff.
Have you seen it actually convert to business? And what does
Oh,
that look like? What does that look like when do they DM you? Do they call you? Like, how
yeah.
does that work?
Yeah. So a lot of times my business will come from something I've posted or people just remembering that I'm in real estate because I'm posting consistently across the board. People are remembering. Um, Instagram, I get a lot of referral business from. So because I have worked really hard at developing relationships with agents across just finding them. If I like their stuff, I follow them, I comment, I like, and you just eventually develop relationships with people. And I've developed a lot of relationships with some great agents. And anytime anyone tries to send me a referral, I remember them and I'm going to go to them first if I have anybody in their area. So a lot of times there's been quite a few people who've referred me business because they have somebody moving here. And then within a year or so, a couple months, somebody needs to move there. And I'm going right back to that same person. So developing those relationships has been a huge thing in my business. I've also started doing Google pay-per-click, and that has been incredible. It's not necessarily social media or sphere, but it is. I get calls from Google almost every day. It's been an amazing thing, and I'm not spending a fortune on it, and I'm showing up as one of the number one realtors in every city nearby. So I'm going to keep doing it. Hopefully, it keeps working out because I have 2 deals under contract right now from Google.
Well, it
So
sounds like it's always a kind of an experiment, always a work in progress, right? To see what works and what doesn't work. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, relationships are obviously they're always going to trump everything.
Oh,
And
for
I think
sure.
that's incredibly valuable. Yeah.
Yep, I'm all about relationship building. That's what I enjoy it for my business, but also for attracting agents. I am not I'm not going to hound you. I'm not going to do anything. I will help you in any way that I can. And that's really where I think people are genuinely attracted to me because they want that they know that I'm going to help them no matter what. I'm not going to push anybody in any which way. And that's how I do for clients too. I'm not going to push you into a house. If you don't like it, I'm never going to try to sell you on it. I want you to be happy and I don't want you to resent buying a house or resent me for pushing you into buying a house. So people know that they can trust me and that I'm going to be there and looking out for them in any way that I can.
I love that. So, as we wrap up today, one of my favorite things to do each year, and I haven't chosen it yet for next year, but like to choose a word for the year. Have
Oh,
you ever
yes,
done that before?
I
Yeah.
have.
And so my word for this last year was elevate. I haven't chosen a word for 2023 yet, but have you chosen a word yet? Or have you
I
thought about
have
what your word?
not. But my word for this year or for 2022 was intention. So to
Mm,
do everything with intention. And I think I've done a good job at it. I think so. I think there could have been more. I think I could have done more this year with some things, but um I feel like I've accomplished a good bit, but I haven't come up with a word for next year yet. I have to think about that.
yeah. It usually all of a sudden comes to me out of nowhere. I start kind of putting it out in the universe and then the word like shows
Yeah,
up one day.
that's what I was
And
just
I
thinking.
actually went
I'm
on
just
this
meditate on
this
that.
last year I went on Etsy. I created a graphic with the word and I went on Etsy and I had an actual like canvas framed picture and it sits right here in front of behind my monitor so I can look at it every single day. So I
I
love
love
it.
it. That's awesome.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us today on Real Estate Real World. You're pretty dang amazing. I'm so proud of you. And I've just watched you like blossom over the last 4 years, and it makes my heart happy. And so if anyone is interested in checking out Modern Agent Blueprint, we'll be sure to post the link in the show notes. And anything you want to share before we...
For anybody who wants to join Modern Agent Blueprint, if you click that link, all of our past videos are there and they're on our YouTube channel. So you can go back and watch any video you want. They're available anytime. And thank you, Marguerite. That's really all. Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Again, thank you for joining us today on Real Estate Real World, where we get to talk to all the cool people. But our goal is to help educate the industry, and we love to share what's really happening in the real world. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Real Estate Real World, where we talk with masters and leaders in real estate and beyond on how we can raise the bar in our industry. Please subscribe over on iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to give us a review. Your reviews encourage us and help others find our podcast. For show notes and hot topics on what's going on right now in our real estate industry, hop on over to www.realestaterealworld.com and add your name to our email. Thanks again for listening. And go out there. Be a part of the elite masterclass in raising the bar on the real estate industry.